college football's hot landscape for coaches for potential shakeups. Before I get right into that, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you get all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Looking at potentially some of the hottest moves that we can see hot seat wise in college football. I'm going to be bringing you some of the coaches that could be on the hot seat within the next couple of weeks. When you're looking at college football, there's a lot of pressure to win. There's a lot of pressure with millions of dollars in the transfer portal, with millions of dollars into NIL, with millions of dollars into building teams. Teams essentially have become pro teams overnight. So when you're looking at some of these coaching positions, some of these highly touted places where people have millions of dollars from Nike, millions of dollars from Reebok, millions of dollars from Adidas, and these heavy TV contracts, these heavy SEC, Big Ten, Pac-10, Pac-12, all these different conferences that have a lot of money invested, they want coaches to win. So with that being said, I'm going to be covering some of the hot seats that we could potentially see moving forward. We're going to start where it's hottest, I believe, in college football, and that's with Florida, Billy Napier. And you look at him and DJ Lagway and what they've been able to do, and so much mustard was given before the season about what potentially they could do and how they were going to run through this gauntlet of essentially, Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State, and yet they fall to South Florida. When you're looking at just how hot that hot seat is, a lot of people weren't expecting them to lose. And when after the game, Billy Napier's like, we're not that good. We're not good enough. And you got to ask yourself, all the money that they spent at Florida into this season is disappointing. You could see him hit the hot seat very quickly. Those folks in Florida may turn on him very quickly. Next up, you got Mike Gundy. Coach Gundy, when you're thinking about Oklahoma State and how he's been literally there for so many decades, and you think about this, he hasn't really been winning lately. Let's face it, what he's done in the past, cool, we like it, we love it, but what have you done lately? What have you done the last 4 or 5 years? What have you done to boost the program now at this point? And you can only live for so long at a program if you're not winning. Look at coaches like Bobby Bowden. Look at some of the longer tenured coaches that got kind of pushed out after a certain amount of time because they weren't winning. You can build great records, you can build great resumes, but you have to consistently keep winning. And I think that, he's done great things as a player there. He's done great things as a coach there, but he's not winning in Stillwater. The last couple of years, 4 or 5 years, it hasn't been cute. It hasn't been great. But he's had to really live with the idea of understanding that, hey, I've struggled. I haven't done great at this situation. And it's a eye-opening thing. Next up, you're looking just like Napier. It's getting hot in Alabama. It's getting very hot in Alabama. And you just got to ask yourself, is Kalen DeBoer going to be able to solve this, turn this program around? Is he going to be able to make more wins happen? Or is he going to fall victim to the pressure of the fan base? Alabama fan base makes this job hard. It makes the job hard not only to recruit, it makes the job and the expectations. If you have 2 losses in the season, that's considered a failure at Bama. At some places, if you win all your games except 2, you're hailed as a great coach. You're hailed as a great leader. You're hailed as so many different things. But when you're looking at Alabama and you're looking at what they currently have, they're not winning against the best of the best. And you think about this, they're losing out on recruiting battles. They're losing out on some of the states that they normally would win. And what's your answer for that? I think overall, this is something that they just have to understand that this is just, it's different. I think overall, the University of Alabama has so much talent. They have so many different things that they're doing. And you just got to ask yourself, what's the end-all be-all for this? How will Bama rebound for this? Will they rebound in time for LSU? Will they rebound in time for Auburn? Will they be a college football playoff team? Will they have the mustard to get through most of the season? Will they be able to beat a Texas? There's so many different questions that Kalen DeBoer has to answer, and it doesn't look likely that they're going to be doing that. When you look at teams like UCLA, Northwestern, Wisconsin, they're all on the hot seat because their teams are not winning. Their teams were set up to say, okay, this year we're going to take a step forward. Look at Virginia Tech. There was so many people talking about Virginia Tech before the season started as possibly a team that was going to be a surprise in the ACC, only to fall flat on their face. And again, it's tough when you're scheduling tough opponents to start the season, but when you're scheduling teams that you should be able to be competitive with and you're not competitive, that's a whole nother ball game. And you got to think from the standpoint of all these SEC teams, all these Big Ten teams. There's two conferences that kind of rule college football right now. That's the Big Ten and that's SEC. When you look at the top 25, it's littered with both these conferences. Not the ACC, not the Big 12, not the Pac 12. It's literally SEC, Big Ten. And when you go down the rabbit hole, if you will, and you got to understand, college football has been more competitive now with the NIL than ever. And you just got to ask yourself, at what point do you take a step back and say, you know what, we can't compete with these things. Just for example, the college football rankings, you got Ohio State, Penn State, Big Ten. You got LSU, SEC, Oregon, Big Ten, Georgia, Texas, SEC. You got South Carolina, you got Oklahoma, you got Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Bama, Auburn's in there, Missouri's in there, Indiana's in there, Michigan's in there. So it's littered with both of these conferences. So in order to win at one of these schools, you're going to have to recruit well. You're going to have a good pitch as far as your people. You're going to have good plays as far as your coordinators. It's tough. Look at Ohio State. Look at Oregon. $40+ million, $25+ million to field a team. That's professionals almost. And when you think about it, college football isn't cheap. Playing in the SEC isn't cheap. Playing in the ACC isn't cheap. And you just got to ask yourself, to compete with Ohio State, to compete with the Penn State, competing with the LSU, Bama, they're spending millions and millions of dollars to recruit guys. It's no longer amateur sports. If you're paying a quarterback $10 million to come play for your team, like Michigan did, if you're paying somebody $5 million to come play for your team, that's a professional at that point. It doesn't matter if it's 2-3 years for the deal. So a lot of college football coaches have their work cut out for themselves. They have their work cut out for themselves because they have the pressure to win. These ADs, these chancellors, these school department heads, they want to see the team successful. They want to see the teams actually thriving. They want to see the teams winning. They have a lot at stake. When you look at these TV contracts where they're making billions of dollars, they want results. There's pressure from the networks. There's pressure from college football. There's pressure from college football playoff results. Ask yourself, if your team is 4 years in, you're a brand new coach, 4 years. How many years before they pull the plug on you as a coach in the SEC or the Big Ten? There's pressure to win right away. It doesn't matter if you inherit a great roster. You're expected to turn things around. And then when it comes down to it, you just got to ask yourself, if you get one of these superstar recruits or transfer portal recruits, just look at Florida. All the talent that they've got through the transfer portal, having DJ as a quarterback, having one of the best defensive recruits in the country, just to lay an egg against South Florida. South Florida probably doesn't even have half the budget Florida does. But they have the recruiting in South Florida. When you steal recruits from Miami, you steal recruits from Georgia, you steal recruits from Florida State, and you're able to recruit inside the own state, that makes a difference. So the pressure is on a lot of these college football coaches. They have the work cut out for themselves. Some of the coaches that I named may be on a hot seat. You may see some firings. You may see some replacements. That you may see a situation like Jimbo Fisher had with Texas A&M, where they got him out of there very quickly. But the most important thing is college football is competitive more than ever. The pressure to win is more than ever. So definitely check out Sports Trades Plus. Definitely check out everything content-wise we have. Which sleepers you got winning on Sunday? Check the archive, because everything's out right now. When you're looking at all the games for next week, every single game is posted for the NFL. So all the winners, losers, expectations, everything's in those videos. So I would say check those out. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus, and we'll see you on the very next episode.